In this video, we're going to talk about 5 tips to save you money on your post frame project that the average buyer doesn't know. In the market that we're in, it's imperative to know how to save money to bring your post frame building to life. So tip number 1 is overhead door location. So a big one here that most people are not aware of is if you put an overhead door on the end wall versus the side wall, it can save you substantial amount of money. Especially the bigger the door, the more amount of money you can save, because your side walls are load bearing for post frame. Your trusses go into those side walls and it connects, and that is where all your strength comes in, or a lot of your strength. So if you have a large overhead door on a sidewall, you'll have to incorporate a steel I-beam like you can see here, or a bigger wood header than you would on an end wall, due to the end wall not being load bearing. So that steel header can add $1,000, $2,000, up to like $6,000 or $7,000 more than your end cutout for your overhead door. So when thinking about door placements, if you can be flexible, putting an end overhead door will always save you money versus a side overhead door, especially the bigger the door gets. So tip number 2 is building width. If you go 80 feet or less, you're gonna have a single ply truss. As you can see in this building, we're 100 foot here, so it's a really large building, and you have a double ply truss here, which is 2 trusses built together to form your single truss for the strength of a building that's that wide. So if you could go smaller on your width, so like a 72 or something like that, and it can work for your function, you can save money as you're not having 2 trusses built together for one. And one more part on that, due to being a 2-ply truss, you have to have a 4-ply column. And you can see that here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 boards built together, typically a 2x8 for this type of building, that will have to be built that way because a 2-ply truss needs to sit in the middle of that column. So you've got 2 in the center and then 2 on the outside that come up around that truss, and it gets bolted in together. So not only do you have more materials for your trusses, you have more materials for your columns as well that can increase your cost. Tip number 3 is building height. If you can go 16 feet or lower, then you can save money by having a 2x6 column versus 18 feet and higher is gonna be a 2x8. You can see that here, as this column is a 2x8, so it's a thicker column versus a 2x6. And so in the long term of your building design, you're gonna have less material on a 2x6, which will save you money on your building versus a 2x8. Step 4 is building location. Now you're gonna have your standard costs, like taking out sod or bringing in gravel and stone. But if you think about where your building location is and it needs to go in that area, moving it 10, 15, 20 feet sometimes can save you thousands of dollars. If there's a big tree, trying to avoid that. If there's a big elevation drop on one corner, moving your building a little bit to have less fill, less materials having to come in, that can save you thousands of dollars on your building project. So be critical about your building location. If it needs to be in a certain area, think about that area. Every little bit can help you a lot in your fill and your excavation materials and cost on your building location. And finally, step number 5 is overhangs. Now we always recommend side overhangs. They're great for condensation control because they allow ventilation to come in, and they're a great aesthetical approach as well. But end overhangs are purely aesthetical. They don't have any ventilation factor, and they just help the building look better. So if you like that look, it's important to you, put them on. That's fantastic. If you're looking to save a few $1,000s or more depending on your width, you can remove those because they really don't add any value to your building beyond the aesthetical look. So that's up to you, and another way you can save some money on your project. So to wrap up, these are 5 tips to help bring your post frame project to life and to help fit your budget. However, some of these things might not fit for you. You might like end overhangs and the aesthetical value they bring. You might need a side overhead door. So these might not fit for everybody, but you can try to take some of these tips to think about your design to bring your cost and fit it within your budget. So remember, if you want more videos like this, subscribe below to our YouTube channel. Click here and here to see some of these videos and to check out more of our content on our post frame channel. And always remember to build with confidence.